For at least a minute or two.
I leave it here. You stay here now.
Yeah. Tell me when you're ready here.
Probably long enough to do all this.
Are you recording? We're about to. Get Sean. Wanted in 5 states.
And on your marks, get set, and action.
All right, this guy's professional, dude. I found him on Craigslist.
Hardcore.
Surprisingly, he didn't ask me to take my clothes off. Otherwise, sexually appropriate.
Yeah.
All right, so this is Charlie, and I'm Shaz, of course. I know Charlie. Let me think. I just want to frame this. You work in the library. A lot of people say you're a good guy. And I know that from first-hand experience. I've lived with you in the churches, in some squats. The squat that we're going to take this food to, you've been at. I know your girl that you hang out with, Sarah. She's really cool. And I know, actually, the first farm in Occupy Farms we were working with, the reason why that guy wanted to work with Occupy Wall Street was you. And he mentioned you by name, Charlie. And you talked to that guy for a while in the park. Surprisingly. You remember?
Yeah.
You're a very cool guy. So you impress a lot of people by being a good person. So I'm glad we could get you on film.
Right on.
And this is a good way to sort of, we're winding down the day of shooting. I'm sure you could give us maybe some positivity. Or if you want, just shit talk the movement. Whatever you want, man. Give us some thoughts on Occupy Wall Street.
I'm reading this book by Proudhon. It's what is it? What is property? And he mentions the word occupy like a couple hundred times. This was written in 1840. And it talks about how, the book talks about occupation being the main driving factor in proprietorship of land. Which is, it's about use rather than remote ownership. And so, occupying is sort of like a way of non-violently forcing your authority as an individual or as a group of individuals over the violent monopoly that is the state. And so I think what we're doing here is a thing and stuff.
What we're doing here is what?
A thing and stuff.
That was a nice summary to the, so Proudhon, his main quote is that property is theft, right?
I mean, a better translation is property is robbery. But essentially it comes down to the fact that if you own this property, then you're screwing someone over. If you're not offering everything as open source, free things, then you're screwing someone over, and that's just not fun. That doesn't produce the best that it can be.
And I guess you phrased it great as far as summarizing this movement that Occupy, using something, the productive use of something, is ethical. Property for property's sake is not ethical. And so I thought you were totally going to go negative on the Occupy concept because some people say it's aggressive.
I can shit talk my way into infinity. Like, there's so much bloody hypocrisy and bureaucracy and like individual moron people doing like moron things. Like I don't even know that half of the people that I really dislike like are agents. Like they may just be like really fucking dumb. Like they just don't know that being dumb. I don't know.
Yeah, but you could choose to do that, or you could just talk about where you see this concept of what we're doing. Do you feel hopeful about the movement right now?
I better, because if we don't win soon, like, abolish government and the police state, we're all going to wind up in FEMA camps this week. This week.
Did you hear about today? They were just arresting people in the park today for handing out food and literature.
Yeah.
Two things that people were getting arrested for.
Yeah.
One of our things we were going to do, we were just behind in our shot schedule, was hand out literature in the park.
Yeah.
We probably would have gotten arrested. I don't know, maybe
I mean,
the camera would have saved us. But.
Not likely. The library has been like not concentrating on the park at all. Like we were.
They arrested
really
one of the
messed
people
up.
handing out the books today in the park. One of the library
Do you know
people.
who?
No,
Christo?
but Rich. Rich was there and he almost got arrested. He would know more. But yeah.
That's putrid. Well,
I mean, you could describe firsthand some of the abuse the libraries taken by the NYPD.
well, I mean, they put 4,000 all 4,000 of our books into a trash compactor and returned, just a few of them in horrifyingly terrible condition. And now they're just like, we didn't do that, and we're like, yeah, you did. You did it. You did it. You did it.
Some of them were actually valuable books, right?
Extremely, like author signed first editions was very common in the library. Rare books to begin with, very common in that library. We've been building off since, but most of what we've been building is just like new books and like people's old libraries. It's mainly like rather old books or brand new books that make up. Actually, the main thrust of the library right now is like on three fronts. We're doing Book Bomb Tucson because Tucson decided that its Chicano population didn't need to know about what it is, and so banned all the books related to the subject. So we're giving them all the banned books back, which is great. We're also working on the mobile library, which is going to be going around so-called bad neighborhoods and giving books out for free. And there's also unoppressive, non-imperialist bargain books on Carmine Street. We're going to house the main thrust of the library so people can actually access it.
So you're going to have a storefront then?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, it's not the front; it's actually the back of the store. But it's sort of like a deal that we made with the guy who does the store. We're going to try to help him make his rent by attracting people into the store, so that they'll like buy his books and take some free books. And we'll also have like a spot to return books, a little spot for archives, and so on and so forth.
You guys are like the most like cutting edge of working groups usually.
Yeah.
Like the first to independently fundraise at most of our events.
Yeah.
Like the most maligned as far as abuse by the NYPD.
Yeah.
Some of the most, like Laura Library told me, is like the most awesome job you could have as a libration for OWS.
I've been a radical librarian for 6 years, give or take. It's all I really like doing. So when I showed up here and discovered that there was a library, I was like, oh, I can do stuff other than hold a sign and yell. That's great. I mean, nothing against holding a sign and yelling.
We were talking about that
some of my
earlier.
favorite things, But, I also love books.
Sounds like a lot of your ideas are like sort of anarchist ideas.
Oh, yeah.
They believe hugely in info shops. And I've been organizing with A New World in Our Hearts in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And I totally wasn't turned on to
Fuck
that.
Monsanto!
Fuck Monsanto! And they, I totally was slept on anarchism for like most of my life. Like I had like the ideas and stuff. Like I've been reading like Proudhon and
Kropotkin is my favorite author in the world.
Like
Easily.
Mutual Aid and stuff like that. And so I'm catching up. But just the fact that you have a zine library is what turned me on. I always grab their zines from the free lit table.
I mean, we're technically separate, but I would like for them to come under the umbrella.
Yeah.
There you go. I would, I wish we were closer, but they're harder working than anybody. They print and fold and staple like 24 hours a day.
And then that bike, I don't know if you've ever ridden like a bike truck. I took it down from Times Square. We're probably going to stop by and take a look at it.
Yeah.
That's probably the best $1,200 that the GA ever spent.
I agree.
Is getting them a bike truck where they can set up an info shop wherever.
They actually wanted library to propose that, but we were like, you guys, people love you guys. Like, you don't even need us to do that.
Every event they hand out hundreds, if not thousands of zines.
Are you kidding me? Like stellar stuff too, and actually controversial. Like the nonviolence and its violent consequences, like actually controversial material.
I use their freaking profiles of a provocateur to kick Jeff out of a church because I read it and I was like, wait, this totally makes sense. And
I mean, he's getting an SIS.
Oh yeah, he has an officer. I saw him today.
I wish he would stop it. Just go away.
I'm trying not to be too personal. I've already burnt too many bridges. But look at like this is one of those.
He knows we aren't.
But yeah, stuff like this was just awesome because like we had like the protest this morning about like unemployment, and then this actual criticism of capitalism, which is just a step beyond just protesting the street, screaming with signs.
My main problem with Occupy is that it's not. I mean, it doesn't understand that as a movement, it doesn't understand that all the problems that it's talking about is just the conclusion of, you know, all these things that anarchists have been talking about since, you know, 1700. Like, I told you.
Well, you know, when the founding fathers wanted to make a statement against England, they dressed up as anarchist Mohawk Indians.
Yeah.
It's like the Tea Party should be dressing up like Indians. Yeah. They should be dressing up like anarchists.
Is the Tea Party still around? I think we ate them.
No, actually, I saw a really interesting YouTube video where occupiers and Tea Partiers sat down for beer and stuff.
No, I think Occupy ate the Tea Party.
Well, that would explain the current indigestion in the movement.
For sure.
Because
those guys really need to turn off their TV.
It's interesting.
Or at least change the channel or something. Go to Cartoon. I don't know.
Something I'm really interested in, just being new to anarchism, the concept, as like a firm ideology, a mature philosophy.
Older than communism by far.
Yeah, and more mature, I would say.
Definitely.
And because they don't propose the solution, they just propose the tools to arrive at your own solution. Yeah. There's a lot of humility there that is lacking.
It's also sane and not authoritarian.
Yeah, right.
Also great.
And I really like the idea of reimagining it for newer generations. I think like that's what Chomsky, the Inter-Occupy, asked, what can we do to take away the stigma of anarchism in the future generation? He says, it's up to you guys. You guys have to reinterpret these ideas. And I think he's really like, a lot of people are willing to give up these terms to us to just reimagine, reinterpret. And me just being new to it, like I have that plasticity in my mind where like, yeah, totally, this is farming, this is permaculture, this is totally, it doesn't even have to be called that, but like these tools are awesome. And that's what I'm excited about Occupy is like we're basically organizing around that, but then I'm scared when they try to put...
Well, yeah, we need to stay free form and we need to stay open source, and we can't, you know, have you heard about this Ben and Jerry's thing?
Movement Resources Group?
Yeah.
I sat down with...
That's some sketchy. I think it's a good idea because it has potential, although I don't touch money, and I think money is like a virus, this terrible thing. But I mean, I guess rich people playing with rich people toys is not something that I have anything to do with. So I mean, I guess it can be used for our collective advantage.
But you understand, they wanted to manage the proposals with a board of 5 institutional people of their pick, and then 5 occupiers, 2 of them from New York, 3 from around the United States. So it's hierarchical by nature, not even
That's problematic. That's highly problematic.
Not even good representative democracy, let alone direct democracy. And this girl stood up and she said, what you guys are doing is proposing a board. I have an art gallery in the Lower East Side. I know an art board when I see it, and that is exactly what's wrong with the art community. This is horrible.
I mean, this does not comply with our principles of solidarity.
So many people were brought to tears in that meeting, and it was sort of sad that they had
They can do it.
They are doing it. They're not backing off of it.
I think it's kind of weird that they want to use Occupy and try to like co-opt this, but I hope we're able to co-opt them.
That's what a mature discussion I was having with someone that like. So definitely we'll always have that reformist push. They've been trying to do these liberal politics for years, and now they see us as we've created this huge hammer. They want to grab it and wield the hammer because that's their mindset.
I'm not progressive. I'm not liberal. That's not cool. And that's not acceptable.
And so that's what this guy was saying. Well, maybe we can get the money without sacrificing our ideals. And we could,
I mean, the resources at least. I'd like a free laptop.
Right.
For Christ's sake, I have a dinosaur. I have a G4. Mac G4. And
well, that's what this idea is like. So I'm trying to fund like my own book writing, and like how do you do that, and how do you do that in an open way? I went to GA asking for their support. Of course, they said no, but we have to maturely talk about that. Like we're gonna, if we want to try to keep doing revolution full time, movement full time, we have to figure out funding sources. I like the idea of trying to fund through art projects because I think artists really have that ideal that discussion
Yeah,
about values.
I used to sell my art on the street.
What type of art do you do?
Now, I would never make that much money, but sometimes I would make enormous amounts of money.
What?
Yeah, and I don't use money anymore. It's too complicated. I'm scared of it. It doesn't make any sense for me.
What I noticed, so we were talking about how to avoid this if we were going to restart Occupy, how to avoid this congregation of resources that attracts all these administrators who just want power and authority.
Yeah, that's the whole hierarchical, centralized structure that has been causing all of these problems for so many decades.
And that's exactly
so
why
many centuries.
That's maybe why Jeff rubs you the wrong way, or me too. Like, it's that administrator
I
type
don't know how the
personality.
hell he gets all this authority out of nowhere instantly, just bam. Like, who does that?
He
Like,
finds
who
a
is able
resource.
to do that?
He finds a resource and then he starts administering it. Metro cards, the military tents, now SIS, and I feel it's like analogous to a sugar pile. You allow your sugar pile to get too big, and ants come, and that's the basic problem. So don't allow your sugar pile to just sit there. And so when you said I don't like money, that's one solution: is just deal with stuff. Don't deal with money to buy stuff, and then you'll have a sugar pile that attracts ants.
Yeah, I mean that's what I've been saying for a while.
Yeah, and
I need stuff. I need socks.
Yeah,
I need lots of socks.
not money to buy socks. Yeah, and maybe even just the resources to make your own socks.
Yeah.
And not specifically that, but like Gandhi, when he was doing his protests, he'd spin cotton every single day to remind people of economic independence. That we protest, we have all these ideas, nonviolence, but we also have to practice self-sufficiency. And that's why every day he'd sit down at the cotton wheel and he'd spin a little bit of cotton. And so I don't know what that, I mean, I guess farms is sort of that concept, which is what like turned me on to that.
Yeah, food. I love food.
And communes and a place to live, and a place for us to have the revolution for our
Yeah, I
society.
need to hit that up at some point in the future.
We have too many farms and not enough people. If you ever want to get away from the city, please hit up the farm meetings every Thursday, 5:30 right over here. Leia, like Rich, all these people who are in it. Rich is right over there. Hunter, right? Yeah, like they need people on these farms. We could send you. There's people going to a farm tonight.
I mean, I've already got a spot tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the future, I want
A week, 2 weeks, get out there, chop some wood, man. It's the best thing.
I love chopping.
That was part of my problem is we were organizing this, but we didn't organize fast enough, just drinking beer and smoking cigarettes and talking about pie in the sky. And then the reality caught up to us. But yeah, thanks, man. You give us one of the most intelligent commentaries so far.
I try hard.
Yeah. Well,
God, I try so hard.
they don't allow just anyone into the library. You guys have standardized tests you have to pass, I'm sure.
What do you mean?
No, I'm just joking.
Oh, standardized test?
Yeah.
Always pick C.
Always think. I used to do that in high school.
No, good. See, now that's the kind of information I wish I didn't know and I wish was impossible to convey to another human being in a way that would help them. I wish that was not helpful information, just always pick C. Are you kidding me? You know what I mean?
But that's useful information. Always pick C.
Yeah, isn't that repulsive?
I don't know. It's
Always pick C.
But no, it's funny is usually we have two-party candidates on the election, so C would be none of the above. So there we go.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Vote for nobody. But and then I'll.
Problem? I started not to record.
Oh no, go ahead. And I'll move a little bit so that way you're not too involved in this. And then you wanted to do an interview with me, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I want to ask one thing to him.
Oh.
Can I come?
Totally.
And Charlie's an interesting person.
And give you this? Wait.
What are you?
Huh? I have a question for him.
Oh, go ahead.
Now, because I was listening, so the question is now don't reply till I don't put you the microphone. You say you don't use money.
No, never.
Okay, I want to know how does it work without money, the life.
It reminds me of did you watch that movie with Wesley Snipes and Sylvester Stallone in the future? It's like some futuristic movie.
So you have so many stuff that probably no one will see.
Well, he actually has old microphones from other interviews that he just keeps. So.
Ah, yes, another microphone.
Oh, do you?
Where?
No, I'm joking.
So, try to speak, I see the volume of the microphone.
Meow, 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 meow.
What's going on? okay, the guy to follow me around.
On your nose. Cats.
I might ask you like some personal stuff, like.
Okay.
We'll do it over here if you want.
Now please tell me how it is to live without money. Where do you